It's amazing. Last week, Karen had said how the message that I brought on Chaye Sarah just spoke to her. And this week, Mauricio, it's absolutely incredible how the Torah speaks to the things that happen in our lives. And it was exactly what I was going through this week. We're raised in a family that, like Rivka was with Lavan and Betuel, and they were basically a pagan family. Well, I can almost say I was born in a pagan family, because really we didn't know Torah. I mean, obviously there are some things within our people are just naturally passed down to us that we know, and it's also in our hearts. But I have learned so many bad habits, so many things in my upbringing, and I tend to be hard. As hard as my mother was on me, I tend to be as hard on others, and especially on myself. And so when my kids came to visit this week, I was very hard. I tried so hard. I did so many of the things at the beginning, and I held it in, and I held it in, and I held it in, things that were bothering me. And then suddenly I had an outburst, not a harsh one, but even a small one was enough to forget all the good that I had done, all the things that I had tried. And I went to bed one night so angry, really angry, and I wanted to say all these things to her, and I was praying, God, show her what she does, show this one what they do. And then when I woke up in the morning, God showed me what I was doing instead of showing them. And I was like so humbled. And our life is a struggle, and it's such a process. Our life, we're constantly dealing with an ego that has been formed and molded by our past. But thank God for him, because he really, as you said, you almost ended it, he's so merciful. God is so merciful with us. Thank God we're not God, because we would, like Miriam said, she would take her machine gun and go around killing a lot of people. But I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful for your message, Mauricio. And I think it's something we're going to struggle with until we're with him. But it was wonderful. Miriam, you're on mute.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mauricio. The idea, there's so many ways that your message spoke to me too, in what I've been going through, like the idea of things not happening suddenly, like even simple, well, not simple in my life, but things like, well, even the way I breathe. Like I struggled all my life breathing a certain way, and I don't think it's anatomical, even though I have a bit of asthma. Whatever it is, stress, whatever, it's been kind of a chain around me for like just years and years, to the point where I just take it for granted, actually. But slowly, I know God is healing me, but we can wait 20, 30 years. It's a slow process, and in it, I don't know, it's just very, very special to know God is working on us, even if we, if we love God, he promises that he's with us. But even with the barren thing, like at the beginning, I don't believe personally that when God was talking about, at the beginning of the reading about the non-barren may be more blessed than the barren. The barren may be more blessed than the non-barren, except however those lines went. I don't personally believe it refers literally to whether you have children or not. I think it refers to where you put your time and value and adoration to in your life. That even like the first blessing to all of us in our lives is our walk with God. You could have 1,000 children and be blessed with fertility up to the stars, but not be walking with God. So I think that's a metaphor at the beginning, that part.
But that's what he said. That's what he said at the end. Today, if we've been barren in any area of our lives, economically, socially, personally, health-wise, mentally, that's how he ended the message.
No, I'm just, but I'm saying I agree with that. Maybe it's more what we were talking about another time,
No,
Peggy.
at the beginning, what I tried to say is that at that time, women who were barren were not in that society were not had a good position, because you can see even that all the ancient cultures adore fertility. So that means that it was so important for them, just like the sun, for example, to give a special God to sun, to fertility, to love. I don't know. So those were so important for them. And what I try to say is that at that time of Isaac and Rivka, to not have a children was like saying, "Oh, she probably make a mistake in her life, so God is punishing her, or he wasn't, or this woman doesn't have a value because she could not have." I don't want to sound bad, but it's like, okay, is when you have a cattle and your cow cannot have cow
Calves.
car, yeah. So you say, oh, this cow is not good, okay. So it's the same at that time. It was so. It was not about if today probably we can see in different way, but I believe that even today, for example, in countries in Middle Eastern, it's very important to have children for the woman. So that was just to try to your imagination can go at that time, because you can understand what was happening. And probably when we read this chapter, we tend to read very fast. So you can read two verses in 1 second or 5 seconds, and do not realize that there were 20 years between these two verses. And for this woman was very difficult. I mean, as well as Sarah. Sarah had 75 years waiting, and then she added more years to await have it sucks. Uh, so it was a very hard trial for this woman, okay. And especially because of the time that they were. Probably today, for example, people say, you are barren economically. Probably today is more important that than to have kids, because today, honestly, I have heard some friends of my woman at the university, and probably 50 or 60% of the kids say we don't want to have kids, okay.
Right.
And it's incredible, because come on, now is not a blessing, now it's a curse to have kids.
Right.
So
but that's the idea of living in a godless society, because for me, God says, go forth and be fruitful, go forth and multiply. But if you look at societies like in China, where at one point they said you weren't allowed to have more than one child. And if you had females, they could be killed. So it's totally pointing to a godless society.
And
yeah,
I think,
but the problem is, one is commitment from this new generation. They don't want to have any commitment,
No responsibility.
Responsibilities, I mean. And then second, a child is a charge for me, because I want to spend my life, very, very without any stress, without thinking, just by myself, okay? And then I don't have to care about someone else. And so that is selfish in his enormous uh, uh, level. So for me, is that point. So today is completely different, but probably today people will say, you are borrowing economically because you don't have this quantity of money at your pocket or in the bank. So,
Well, the whole
but
idea,
it's the
of
same
motherhood.
idea.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the
The whole
same
idea of
idea.
motherhood has changed because in that time, a woman couldn't work. Her role was to be a
Yeah.
mother, to have children, not today. But
Yeah.
you want to
today,
know
their mothers are put down for staying home and raising their children. They're the least in society. Sorry, Mary.
Yeah, but the bottom line though is, as one, I don't have children, and I know other women who don't have children, and everything you're saying is true, but on a really primal, basic level, in the deepest part of a woman, it's really, I don't care what era you live in, it's very hard to be, when you talk to somebody and you say, well, how many kids do you have? Well, I don't have any. It's very deep in a woman to have children.
Right.
So for me, without God in my life, that would have been a really severe, deep sadness in my life, not having children. So even though I agree with everything you said, the way I take it and the way I've spoken to other women who haven't had children, that my desire is to follow God and to realize that God is my Father, and the most important thing in all of our lives, and that what I can take from this is that to walk with God and have a relationship with God is what gives my life meaning, and my friends and everything else. It doesn't mean I have to look at it like I've been cursed. Maybe in those days, the woman would feel, what did I do? I have even thought of that, but I just want to add that there is another dimension. Whatever you could say about women's lib or what values are, or about the having kids and wanting to be and being selfish, there is something that I've spoken to many women, all different types, who haven't had kids. There's still something very basic about a woman having children, even in today's world. So
And yet look how many kids God brought for you to take care of for 20 years. You worked with taking care of the most difficult of children.
no, I'm not disputing any of this.
I'm not. I'm just adding to what you're saying.
Yes, yeah, that's true. But
God
I'm just saying that I believe, well, if you were to sit down with a group of many women who haven't had children, and you really talked you would see that there's something about not having children that's very, very, very meaningful in a woman's life.
It's true.
Yes.
Maybe God will open up. No, I'm joking. Open up my. I'm just joking. That would be a miracle.
I'm going to call you the Virgin Miriam. Yeah, you have the right name.
Well, the virgin part you can leave out.
Well, but remember, Sarah was a virgin according to our rabbis, because there were 3 different names for virgin. You have Betula, you have Alma, and you have Na'ara, and she was
but she was a virgin because
her womb hadn't been open,
but not because she didn't know a man.
Exactly. So it's the same with you.
Yeah, well, my womb wasn't opened up.
Exactly. Yeah. So what else? Any other ideas?
Well, there is another idea, and it's about communication between Rika and Isaac. Okay,
Right.
because obviously, well, it's hidden, right? Because yeah, it's true. Isaac was praying for this miracle. Okay, And it's interesting that um, he didn't follow the the um, uh, the decision of his father to have children through Keturah, right, or to
Agar.
God, yes, to
And
Agar.
Abraham didn't pray. Isaac did.
Yeah, Isaac did.
Yeah.
So that is really nice, but God lead him to pray before his wife, and honestly, you know, it's like Rivka needed to be witness about the prayer of Isaac. So when she saw him praying to open the womb, then she realized that there is only one God. Because if you are praying hidden, okay, that's good, and God will hear you. But when you pray in front of other person, that person will see that you are praying,
Right.
and he will be conscious about, oh, he is praying to his God at that time, right? Um, and Rivka, obviously, um, I has been very wonder about how the very a lot of sages in Israel, they tend to say, oh, Rivka was the best woman in the world, and they idealize Rivka, and really don't see the problems, because that's why the Torah says she was uh, okay. There is in these two verses, I don't know if you could see, but first it says, and Isaac was fathered by Abraham. So that means he raised up with Abraham. Abraham formed him, his way of thinking, his values, his beliefs, etc. But in the case of Rivka, it says she was a daughter of Bethuel. Okay, and we see how Bethuel was. He never speak. Nobody in the family allowed him to speak. For example, when he was with the servant, right? So he was like I don't know, like a statue in his family. Okay,
Yeah.
and then it adds, and that is really strange. Okay, she was a sister of Laban. Why it was enough to say she was daughter of Bethuel? Why she that the scripture is adding the characteristic of Laban? Because we will see later that still was inside of her some I don't know how to say
Deceit.
that in yeah
Deceit.
yeah, so some deceit, and later we will see that when, for example, she was counseling Jacob to have to take a goat and put it on the arm and try to deceive his father, you know, that is Laban working. Okay, that is what she learned from Laban.
Right.
So it's not for nothing written that. And then why Bethuel? Because obviously Bethuel was a very pagan man. So probably yes, I recognize there is God, as well as many people in the society today says, "Oh, I believe in God. Yeah, uh, I trust in God." But what God? I mean,
Exactly. And the funny thing was, both of them, look at their names meant Betuel, house of God, and Lavan means white. He was far from being white.
yeah.
It's a joke.
So yeah, it's a joke. So uh, and so there is two nature in both parents. Okay,
There's what?
and two different
Natures, right? Two
yeah,
natures. Yes.
completely different. I mean, one was raised up as pagan, and the other one was as believer.
Right.
So that is something that, yeah, that there is something that I tell to my kids: do not try to convert people when you are married. Okay,
When you were what?
when you get married, do not try
Oh, yeah.
to convert people, or say, I'm gonna change that person.
Right.
No, look for what it is. Okay, and then um, we will see that. So Isaac prayed before her so she could recognize, and then we read that when she started to feel something in her womb about that the two kids were fighting inside, she went to consult the God. Okay, and it's interesting because uh, the word to consult is not about that God talked to her. I mean, she went to a place. The rabbis have the answer that she went to Ever or Shem's house, tent, to 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 ask them what is happening inside of me. So, and God respond through these persons to Rivka. But the main point here is, and the question is, did Isaac knew about this consult from Rivka?
It doesn't seem so.
It doesn't seem so. So everybody was from Isaac. He was praying alone, hidden, until he shows before he's praying to her woman. Then God answered, and she was to consult, but Isaac didn't know. So they raised the kids, and probably if Isaac knew about the answer, probably he could make better decision about raising their kids. So and so it's very important, the communication between the couples, because if not, we could make mistakes, and and that's true. I mean, um, and at the end is about the preference. Uh, it's it's incredible that that the preference from Isaac about the food, okay, and the preference about Rika about to have someone to talk, okay. So that is the difference of age, okay.
Yeah. It's very hard because he's starting out as a grandfather more than the father, where you
Yes.
don't have a lot of influence on the children. And he was impressed with the fact that Esau was a hunter. He was everything that he wasn't. Whereas, yeah, same with Rivka. I know it's hard when we play favorites with our children. We have to be very careful there. It's natural because some of us
Yeah.
just get along better with one than the other.
Yes, that we need to pray for wisdom when we are father. Um, and at the end also is it's something that for me the principles of the Torah are really important. You know, uh, because for example, in the case of Esau as well as Ishmael, they they love and respect their fathers. Ishmael respect Abraham, as well as Esau respect Isaac. It's very clear. So, and you can see the blessing of God through them because of this action. So, and they were not the best person in the world, but know, everyone has some spark inside of us that we can see that there is a potential. Obviously, they made another decisions about their beliefs. For example, Esau, it says at the end of this portion that he married with some woman that were a headache for Rivka and for Isaac, right? And then he married with one Canaanite, one Hittite, and then he was saying, "Oh no, I'm gonna look for one of the family as well as Jacob dear." So he went to Ishmael and find out that another woman that probably was, and you know, so that's decisions make worse things, and and also there is another idea that I love, and it's about that the self is like a irrational part. Sometimes we love our instincts. Okay, in this case, he was governed by his instincts. When he say, "I am starving," I don't want the firstborn heritage. I want to eat.
Right.
So you can see that I want to eat is my instinct, living by my instinct, living for the short term, in living for to satisfy my flesh, my body. Okay, and sometimes there is a lot of person who, that you say, oh, that person doesn't think, and I mean it's not something spiritual, but you know it's for logic. Okay, oh, he's drinking a lot. Hey, come on, you don't believe that you're gonna have a cirrhosis or something in your body because you are drinking a lot, for example, or you are driving wrong. So but the problem is that when you decide to let your body takes control of you, it's really hard um, to return, to take back the control of your body. I mean, for example, if I eat a lot and I need to eat meat, just chocolates all day, I mean, then some Sunday, yeah, I'm gonna have a heart attack. So and you have to stop. But people say, "Oh, I cannot stop."
Yeah.
Yeah, you can stop, but you need to decide to stop. And sometimes it's really hard. And you know, I pray for not only for me but also for my family, because today, for example, yesterday was a mess in this city of San Salvador. It was a mess because we are not American, but we celebrate Black Friday. So uh, every commercial, eh, 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 you know, every mall in this country was completely full, and there was a chaos with you are trying to drive, and you were driving like, I don't know, 10 seconds per kilometer because it was so almost stopped. So, but that is to live by my instincts. Okay, you are not well. You cannot realize that you are paying more, or that probably they say, oh, it's 40% off, but one day prior they just raise up the prices, so it's the same price as 1 week ago. So but people is believing, oh, it's but that is a sub. Okay, so it's so important to not distract from our instincts, but to have them in control.
Yes, and I think there's something that we don't always understand about the spiritual aspect of things too, because obviously Jacob was chosen. So I don't know how to describe it, but I think when you know that you're chosen, I mean, I don't know, our spiritual nature is very hard to describe, but obviously Jacob would be making these choices also because he was chosen. His connection with God was not what Esau had. Esau did not have that connection. Now, did that come? How did that happen? Is it because he was chosen, or God gave it to him after he chose him? It's really hard to understand the nature of our soul. And all I know is that God is working in us. And
No, and the question is, if Jacob were the chosen one, uh, did he have to take the control? I mean, when the heaven says, okay, you're gonna make this and this, or for example, as Job, it says that you cannot add one minute to your life,
right,
because that is written. So no matter what you do, that will occur.
exactly.
But the problem is that for me, Rivka and Jacob decide to take the short, the bargain, I would say, to take the short way to get to get the promise,
Yeah,
and
the
not
easy
wait.
way, the easy way out, you mean?
Yeah, the easy way. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Rivka had to wait 20 years, you know, but in this case, they couldn't wait for more time. Okay, to God. So, um, but yes, we can say whatever, but at the end, something that I have to say that is good from Rivka and from Jacob, that they really desire the firstborn, right. Okay, and that is a merit too, because when you get,
Rivka and Jacob.
yeah,
Rivka,
you know they want really to be blessed by God.
yes,
They but Esau, he said, who cares, tomorrow I will die.
right.
So there is no value for him. And instead of Jacob, he knew the value of to have the blessing from his father. So that is something good. The problem is that they want to take the easy way to get, and that easy way cost a lot of time to Jacob. I
To
mean,
me, it was not the easy way. It was maybe I'm saying the same thing, but it was a lack of trust. I don't think it
yes,
was a matter of the easy way. It was a matter of, look what's happening. It doesn't look like it's happening the way it should. So we better do something. It's a control issue to me about lack of trust.
It's like Sarah.
Yeah.
yes, yes, and if we probably Isaac get sick and he thought, I'm gonna die, but also we can read that he died many years later after he gave the blessing. So it was something, I don't know, probably he could feel better and bless Jacob later. Who knows? Okay.
Do you really believe that she went to the house of Shem, or did she go directly to God?
I don't think, because when I read the Torah, for me that she went to a place to consult God. That is for me just written. To whom? I don't know. Okay,
What?
because the scripture doesn't say she went to Shem's house, for example,
No.
or no, it doesn't say that. Okay, but the rabbi said, okay, he could go. But what is really for me clear, that when it says that she went to consult to God, she went to a place to consult to someone who had a prophecy from God, okay, who has a connection with God, not in the
What
way
makes
that.
you say that from the Torah portion? Like, why?
Yeah. Do you remember what verse it was?
It
It
says
was
she,
25.
Genesis 25?
There's Genesis 25. Let me check. 25. Oops. I was looking for something that is
Here, do you
not.
see? No, that's Sell Me My Birthright. It would be further, maybe.
2 nations, yeah.
Oh, here. Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord let himself be treated. No, wait a minute.
No, it comes next that the children struggle together.
Yes.
If so,
And the
where?
children struggled together. And she
And she went to inquire of the Lord.
of the
Oh,
Lord.
so you think she literally went to a place?
She went to a place.
But it
That's
says the
for
Lord
me
said to
idea.
her. So you don't think
Yes.
the Lord spoke to her directly?
No. It's like when God spoke through the Torah through Moses. And we say the Lord said, but who wrote that? Moses.
Right.
It was not God itself.
Right.
So sometimes also God is talking to us. You know, there is a friend of mine that he lived in Guatemala, and you know, his father, his genetic father, okay, he left his mother when he was a baby. Then he raised up with another man. For him, he was his father. He was not a genetic father, but he was his father. And I met him with this second father. With, and for me, it was his father. For me, it was natural. Even he had an accident. He died almost like 15 years ago. Uh, when he died, all we were together with my friend, but suddenly, like, I don't know, 1 month ago, he went to El Salvador to celebrate the 15 years old of his firstborn kid. In this firstborn kid, well, he said, oh, well, my dad is inviting all of my friends to have a party with, and when he said my dad, it was for me, what dad? I mean, is not your dad already dead? I mean, so, and then he said to me that one day his father, for the COVID, he called him and he said, I am your father. And but it was a talking about just to say, oh, okay, I know you, and I asked my mom, and then I realized and I have another father. But that was period, okay. So but Sunday he was walking in Guatemala City, and suddenly a person touched him in his back, and he said, God says, look your father, do not disprease your father, go and have a relationship with him. And then that person disappeared. So
Wow.
he was like, just came to me to give me this message.
Wow.
And who was that person? I don't know. I never met him. So then he started to have a relationship with his dad, and then his dad decided to have the party
Come to
the
where?
kid.
Sorry.
Yeah, to
Decided
come
to
to El
come.
Salvador,
Oh, okay.
and then to have this party to celebrate the 15 years old of his firstborn. So in this case of my friend, we can say God talked to him, but it was not God itself, from heaven and open, or no, someone was sent to say that, hey, you don't have to hate your father, establish a relationship with him. So it was something for me. Is something I would say, oh, God is talking. So not really in the scripture when he said God told to him or God spoke to him, etc. It really means that God itself comes and was before you. Sometimes yes, you can hear God, but most of the time, honestly, at least for me, has been through persons, through different actions, through nature, to, I don't know, for a kid, God is talking to me. So that's how I see.
Yeah, definitely. God has ways of speaking to us. It doesn't always necessarily be to hear his voice. Some people think you can ask God to speak to you and you'll hear his voice. Well, I don't know. I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah,
So,
you remember the joke of the Rabbi when he said about the person, oh God, help me. I am
yes.
in the middle of the ocean. And God
No,
sent
there
him.
was a flood and he
Yeah,
was on the roof and he said, God, please help me. And first he sends a boat and the guy doesn't get on the boat because he says, well, God is going to help me. And then God sends a helicopter and he doesn't get on the helicopter because he says, God's going to send me. And the poor guy drowned. And he said, well, I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter, but you didn't listen.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's the point. We
exactly.
need to have our eyes opened
Yeah,
to see God is giving me
yeah.
is talking to me.
Yeah, because everyone's looking for miracles instead of understanding that God wants us to be well grounded and balanced on this earth. Anyway, that was wonderful. Mauricio, thank you again so much for your message. Very, very, very timely in my life. And I'm sure in everybody, not only who's with us today, but those who listen to it afterwards on our recording. Again, we welcome anybody who wants to join us on Shabbat. Our group is a very special one. I'm very blessed to be part of this community and to have such good teaching. We continue to thank God for the teaching of our Rabbi. Let's continue to pray for each other because we are all struggling. There isn't one of us who has an easy time where everything is perfect, and certainly we are not perfect. So with that, I just wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a wonderful, God-filled week where he's helping us and he's walking with us through no matter what trials we have.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.